Hiya, welcome back to the channel. Those that have been here before, those that haven't been, please subscribe and press the bell button so that you can be notified of any videos that I make throughout the year. Okay, right then, if you watched the last video that I did, you'll notice that I had a bit of a problem with my brake lights. My brake lights were coming on and staying on when I got over 40 miles an hour. So there was something wrong with the microswitch in there. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to have a look at that problem and see if we can get some sort of cure for it. So see if we can get it fixed. But just before I get on with that, during lockdown, you know, I've been doing a bit of reading. And I was reading a book on anti-gravity. And you know, I just couldn't put it down. I'm here all week. Anyway, let's get going. Let's see what we can do with these brake lights. Right, the issue I was having was that with this brake lever here, that when I was going along at 40 miles an hour, the wind was blowing it and it was very sensitive to the brake lights coming on and flashing on. So I've got to try and find out what the problem with that is. Right, the first thing we've got to do is to get into the actual brake solenoid. So you're going to need a torque 25 screwdriver to loosen off this top bracket here. You don't need to take that out, just loosen it off. And then this one here needs to come out completely. That loosens off this. Actually, what we need to do is to put something somewhere to put this, so we'll need to put it on the headlight. So let's get a towel. We can put that over there so that we don't have an issue when we take this out. There's the other. Okay, so that releases this brake lever now. Right, in here, this is the actual brake microswitch, just in there. You can see that there. Now the way that works is that when it's compressed, the brake light is off. So you probably see behind, when I press that in, the brake light goes off. When I pull it out, the brake light goes on. So it sort of works on like a reverse microswitch. So when the pressure is on it, the actual brake light is off. When it's released, the brake light is on. Well, here's the brake lever. Now you can see that little lug there. That little lug actually compresses, when it's in place, it compresses that microswitch in, so that when you pull the brake lever, it moves it forward and moves it that way, and so then the brake lever, the microswitch actually releases. So when that little lug there is connected in place, that is compressing the microswitch all the time, so that when you press the brake lever and you move that, that releases the microswitch. So what's happened with mine is that this little piece here of the microswitch, which is only made of plastic, has actually worn out. So the gap between that and that lug that compresses it has become too small, and it needs to be larger so that it can actually push the microswitch in when it's in place. What we can do is make a very simple temporary fix for this. Obviously we're going to need a new microswitch at some stage, but I can't get one at the moment, and so I want to ride my bike this week, so I need to be able to make some sort of fix for this. So gaffer tape, or bodge tape as some people call it, right? If we just make several little strips of this, okay, we've got several little strips of this now. So what we want to do is to put the strips on top of one another to make it as thick as you want to make the gap. Now that's created a small strip here. Obviously we don't want it that big, so we'll cut that in half. Okay, so that's all we're looking at, just something like that that can fold around. Right, so what we need to do now is to just put this little piece of gaffer tape around this lever here. Actually, that's a little bit too big, so we'll trim that off a bit. Right, we've trimmed that off a little bit. So now if we put that little bit of tape around there like that, and then bend that around, that should make that gap a little bit bigger for when it goes on to the microswitch. So you can see all that's done is made that a little bit bigger. Okay, so the next thing is to put that back on again. Now when this goes back on, you've got to make sure that when this goes round here, that little lug goes into that groove there, and then that lever will go in and just hold the microswitch back. That's back in place now, so it's just a matter of putting this back on, screwing those back in. Making sure that you level the levers up as they came off, and then just tighten up and tighten up all of them. Okay, so that's that. Right, so now that we've done that, this now is it's not been blown at all by the wind. As you can see, the movement there is going quite a long way before it goes in, but then when we put in the brake, on it goes. But there's a lot more, it's not as sensitive as it was. Right, obviously that fix is really a bodge fix, hence the reason why they call it bodge tape sometimes. You really need a new microswitch to fix it properly, but obviously with the lockdown being on, and I still want to ride my bike occasionally, I want to be able to have a temporary fix, so that's what I've done. And so I should be able to ride the bike when I go out in a couple of days time without my brake light staying on. So I'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell button.